Hello, Jordan. Hi. Do you have any V-Bucks? How much V-Bucks do you have? Oh, nice. I'm inviting Path. Because I can only play. Wait, is Arena Duos in? Because I need a 1v1 Path's friend who plays on Nintendo.
Right foot up, left foot slide. Left foot up, right foot slide. They go right foot up.
Okay, yeah, let's trade. One button.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
A young mechanic was repairing the engine of a cardiac surgeon's BMW while the owner waited. The mechanic yelled across the floor to the doctor, "Hey doc, can I ask you something?" The surgeon was a bit surprised, but he walked over to the mechanic. The mechanic straightened himself up, wiped his hands with the rag. "Look at this engine, doc," he said. "I open hearts, take out valves, fix them, and put them back in, and when I'm done, they'll work just like new. So how come you get paid the big bucks when I barely have enough to get by?" The doctor leaned in close to the young mechanic and smiled, and said, "Well, just try it with the engine running." While cruising at nearly 40,000 feet, the airplane shuddered and Mr. Benson looked out the window. "My gosh," he screamed. "One of the engines just blew up." The other passengers left their seats and came running over. Suddenly, the aircraft was rocked by a second blast as yet another engine exploded on the other side of the plane. The passengers were in a frenzy now, and even the flight attendants couldn't maintain order. Just then, the tall, smiling pilot came out from the cockpit and assured everyone that things would be okay. His words and his demeanor seemed to calm most of the passengers, who sat back down while the captain slowly made his way to the back. He then calmly took a few packages out from under some seats and handed them to the flight attendants. Each crew member slipped the pack on their backs. "Say," spoke an alert passenger, "aren't those parachutes?" The captain nodded and said that they were. The passenger went on, "But I thought you said there was nothing to worry about." "There isn't," replied the pilot as the third engine exploded. "We're just going to get some help."
The judge says, "The charge is the theft of 16 radios. Are you the defendant?" The defendant replies, "No, sir. I'm the guy who stole the radios."
Two big dummies had gone fishing and brought in the largest amount of fish they had ever seen. One said to the other, "Did you mark the place where the fishing was so good?" "Yes, I put an X on the side of the boat." "You idiot," said the first big dummy. "What if we take a different boat next time?"
Two guys wonder if there's baseball in heaven and promise each other that the first to die will somehow let the other one know. A week later, one of them dies. And a week after that, his friend recognizes his voice coming down from the clouds. "Joe, I've got some good news and some bad news," the disembodied voice reports. "The good news is that there's a baseball team in heaven. The bad news is that you're pitching on Friday."
Question: why don't big dummies play frisbee? Answer: it hurts their teeth.
If the opposite of a pro is con, isn't the opposite of progress Congress? So the penniless artist was cornered by a landlord who demanded several months back rent. Just think, the artist pleaded. Some tourist will be pointing at this building one day and say, "The great abstract painter Susan Kavinsky once lived here." Landlord shrugged. "And if you don't pay up," he said, "they can come by tomorrow and say the exact same thing." So why did the school board fire the cross-eyed teacher? Because he couldn't control his pupils.
Quasimodo goes to his Parisian cathedral doctor for his annual checkup. "I think there is something wrong with my back," the doctor says. "Why do you say that?" asks Quasimodo. "I don't know," the doctor replies. "It's just a hunch."
What do Winnie the Pooh and Attila the Hun have in common? The same middle name. Politics comes from the root poly, which means many, and ticks, which means blood-sucking creatures. One sunny day in Ireland, two men were sitting in a pub, drinking some Guinness. One of them turns to the other and says, "You see that man over there? He looks just like me. I think I'm going to go over there and talk to him." So he goes over to the man and taps him on the shoulder. "Excuse me, sir," he starts, "but I notice you look just like me." The second man turns around and says, "Yeah, I noticed the same thing. Where are you from?" "I'm from
Dublin, came the reply. Me too. What street did you live on? McCarthy Street. The second man replies, me too. What number is it? 162. The first man replies, me too. What are your parents' names? Connor and Shane. The second man, almost dumbfounded, says, me too. This is unbelievable. So they both buy some Guinness, and they're talking some more when the bartenders change shifts. The new bartender comes in and goes up to the other bartender and asks, what's new today? Oh, nothing much. The Murphy twins had a few too many.
If an orange is orange, why isn't a lime called a green or a lemon called a yellow? One day, 3 guys go out into the woods to hunt deer. The first guy goes, comes back, find tracks, follow tracks, me catch deer. The second guy goes and also comes back with a dead deer. He also says, me find tracks, me follow tracks. The third guy goes and comes back with a dead bruises all over his body. He says, me find tracks, me follow tracks, me get in that tree. She went golfing one day and she hit her ball into the woods. She went into the woods to look for it and found a frog in a trap. The frog said to her, if you release me from this trap, I will grant you 3 wishes. The woman freed the frog, and the frog said, thank you. But I failed to mention that there was also a condition to your wishes. Whatever you wish for, your husband will get 10 times more, or better. The woman said that would be okay, and for the first wish, she wanted to be the most beautiful woman in the world. The frog warned her, do you realize that this will also make your husband the most handsome man in the world? An Adonis. Women will flock to him from all over the world. The woman replied, he'll be okay because I will be the most beautiful woman in the world and he will only have eyes for me. So, kazam! Instantly, the woman is the most beautiful woman in the world. For her second wish, she wanted to be the richest woman in the world. The frog said, that will make your husband the richest man in the world and he will be 10 times richer than you. The woman said, that will be okay because he is mine, and his and what is his mine as well. So, kazam! Instantly, she is the richest woman in the world. The frog then inquired about her third wish, and she answered, I would like a mild heart attack. A woman went to her psychiatrist and said, Doctor, I want to talk to you about my husband. He thinks he's a refrigerator. Well, said the doctor, that's not so bad. It's rather a harmless complex. Well, maybe, replied the lady, but he sleeps with his mouth open. So? Replied the doctor. Well, said the woman, the light keeps me awake.
2 men were fishing in a pond one day, and all of a sudden a funeral procession went by. One man stood up and took out his hat and stood there until the wind blew by. The other guy said, you know what, it's of you to do that. So the other guy said, yeah, it's the least I could do. After all, I've been married to the woman for 30 years. How many lawyers does it take to shingle a roof of a house? Well, it depends on how thin you slice them.
The professors of mathematics and physics were staring away at a flagpole in front of the college building. The professor of English walked by and asked, what seems to be the problem? We, said the professor of mathematics, were wondering how to measure the height of this flagpole. The professor of English quickly unscrewed the pole from its moorings, laid it down on the ground, whipped out a measuring tape, measured it, and said, it's exactly 1 foot long, and walked away, smoking his pipe. As the English professor walked away, the professor of physics remarked, what a wise guy. We wanted to know the height, and he tells us the length. An American man, a Russian man, and an African man were all up in a hot air balloon together. After a few minutes, the Russian man put his hand down through the clouds. Ah, he said, we're right over my home. How can you tell? Asked the American. I can feel the cold air. A few hours later. Several more hours later, the American put his hand through the clouds. Ah, we're right over New York. The Russian and the African were amazed. How did you know all of that? They exclaimed. The American pulled his hand up. My watch is missing. Question. What do you have when 100 lawyers are buried up to their necks in sand? Answer. Not enough sand. How many surrealists does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is fish. Question. What do you call an ant from overseas? Answer. Important. An avid golfer dies and goes to heaven. He is met by St. Peter, who tells him, "Welcome to heaven. I know you will be pleased to know that this is the best golf course in the universe." The man's eyes turn cloudy. St. Peter says, "And the weather here is always good." A tear begins to form in the man's eye. St. Peter says, "And there is never any lines of people when you want to play golf." A tear starts dropping from the man's other eye. St. Peter hurriedly says, "And your drives go at least 50 yards farther up here." The man is now sniffling. St. Peter says, "And you will never have more than 2 putts." The man is now sobbing uncontrollably. St. Peter asks, "Hey, what's the matter with you?"
Hello?
Would be
Wait,
overjoyed.
Dylan, why are you wearing that skin?
The man answers, "If my wife hadn't fed me all of that healthy food, I would have been here
Oh.
5 years earlier."
Oh, Dylan doesn't have a mic, he said.
At one point during the
Dylan said he's not using his mic.
players
And he can't hear me.
understand what cooperation is, what a team is. The little
He can't hear me. Do you want to call him?
understand that what really matters is whether we win together as a team.
I'll just say,
The coach continued. Then,
okay, what do you want to play?
first, don't
Let's
argue
play
or attack.
Arena.
Do you understand all of that? Again, the little boy nodded. Good. said the coach.
Oh, he called us.
Explain it all to your father.
After being bogged down in a muddy road, a motorist
Wait, join the call because he can't hear us. Oh,